I want to get on to my second point because I've already told you about the mayor, how he promised to make investments in our youth, and then he never delivered. And now I want to talk about what happens because he didn't deliver. So the impact of the mayor's broken promises are three things. First of all, we've seen a dramatic increase in youth crime. Second of all, we've seen higher youth unemployment. And finally, we've seen a mental health crisis for our children. I have a 16-year-old at home. I've got boys that are home 3 and 4 years old. I left them this morning playing Legos with their mom, and I don't want them to grow up with a mental health crisis. And yet, look at what's going on in the world right now. There's no roadmap out of this lockdown. They can't go to school. How can you ask a child to go to school through a Zoom call and a screen and not expect that to affect their mental health? This is a real crisis. It's having long-term ramifications, and every single day we accept our current leaders' ideas and solutions is a day that hurts our children, it hurts our livelihoods, and it hurts our future. And I want to look into some of the things that happened with your mayor. I've spoke about this before, but I feel it's important. I want to speak about it again. Youth crime is up with a shocking rise in knife crime for every single year the mayor has been in office. Look at the statistics. I've already published an entire hour episode on this called Real Deal on my YouTube channel and on my website. The current mayor just recorded his 100th teenage murder on his watch. Just think about that. 100th teenage murder. Some of these are 14 years old. It's unacceptable, and we've heard the excuses, and all he seems to do is blame other people. The youth offending rates have increased 10% in London, from just 33% in 2006 to 43% currently. That is double that of England and Wales. Double that of England and Wales. And between 2012 and 2017, the number of under 25s who were killed doubled. It doubled, increasing year on year since 2014. The numbers don't lie. It's very easy to see when this mayor came into office because crime goes up. That's what the statistics show. Last year, there were 135 killings in London, and 30% of those crimes in London were committed by young people, involve violence. This is what we're teaching our children to do under your current mayor, and I think this is unacceptable. But it gets worse. We see higher youth unemployment. In the UK, 602,000 young people were unemployed in the last quarter. That's an increase of 53,000 from the previous quarter and an increase of 101,000 young people from the year before. It's the highest level of youth unemployment in the past 5 years, and unemployment in London is now most prevalent amongst those aged 16 to 24. These are not what we want these kids to be doing at these ages. We can't have them unemployed. It leads to crime, it leads to problems, it leads to mental health issues. It's no longer acceptable. And this comes to my final point. We are in a mental health crisis for our children. This cannot be ignored. And let me tell you some of the statistics. Mental health hospitalization admissions for young children have increased by 68% in 10 years. Just think about that. Mental health hospital admissions up 68% in 10 years. In London, 1 in 10 young people have a diagnosable mental health disorder, 10% of our young people. And that's 3 in every school class, and more than 100,000 across the capital. And now between 1 in 12 and 1 in 5 in 15 children and young people deliberately self-harm. Self-harm is something that is always a product of their mental health and the circumstances they're going through. We must address these issues now, but the problem is this. The current mayor of London, he doesn't care about our communities. The current mayor of London doesn't care about our children, and the current mayor of London, in my opinion, never intended to keep those promises back in 2016, and he's not going to keep the promises that he's talking about in 2021. I have a simple question to you. Do you want 3 more years of this? That's what you're going to have to ask yourself on May 6th when you go to the polls, because it's our future and we must take ownership of it right now.